Hi, I'm Paul Andrews. I'm here with my friend Rocky, and we're going to chat, Rocky, a little bit about your story, your testimony. You have an amazing story, so talk to me a little bit about your testimony and what God delivered you from.
I grew up Baptist, just going to Baptist church with my grandma, Sunday school, Awanas. And then 11 days after my 11th birthday, she passed away, and that's when anger and bitterness came in towards God. Why would you take someone away from me that was leading me close to you? So didn't end up going to church after that. Just did my own thing. It wasn't until I was about 17, 18 years old that extenuating circumstances happened, that I had an injury and was introduced to pills. After the pills, I left my house, and then was introduced to another very strong drug, meth, which took about 4.5 years of my life. Left me homeless on the streets, stealing, living underneath bridges, doing what I can to survive. It wasn't until 2009 that God broke me down in a park and said, you're worth more than this. He used all my surroundings to kind of show me that I was worth more. So then I walked into a police office and was like, I need help. There's something that I'm not right. And they took me to the Union Rescue Mission. It was there at the Union Rescue Mission on August 29th, 2009 that I consider my new birth date. It was the day that I finally gave my life over to Christ and said, I know I'm worth more than this. I know you have something created for me. And from then on, I thought it was going to be easy, but it was not. I thought it was just going to be great, but it was very difficult. But walking with the Lord, is great and difficult at the same time. I graduated the New Beginnings program there, got restored and recovered from my drug addiction, got restored and recovered from a lot of bitterness that I had towards my dad for his drinking issues and stuff like that. So after 2010, I left and I was like, God, I got this. You restored and recovered me so I can take care of it on my own. Did that from about 2010 to 2017 until I quickly realized that everything that I continue to keep doing on my own, I fail at. And it wasn't until I had to swallow my pride and said, I need more of a reboot. So I went back to the Union Rescue Mission and went through their Solid Ground program, where I learned about self-confrontation, where I had to learn within myself. There's a lot of anger, bitterness, and forgiveness towards myself. Completed that program, and God was just moving in mighty, mighty ways. He sent me out to a Bible college where I was able to get some degrees. He was able to show me that I have a gift that He's given me working with youth. And then my very first year, going on 11 summer camps in one summer. It was exhausting, but God introduced me to Danica, my amazing wife at the time, or my amazing wife at this time. And God has just been completely moving in that relationship, moving in my life, and just showing me that I have a purpose in life, that He's had a plan and purpose for me my entire life. And I am now, recently back at the Union Rescue Mission as a case manager. God is working full circle to be able to help, to be able to use me to help guys like that. And He's showing me exactly why it is. He's showing me that I have a purpose for what it is that I went through, that He can take the bad stuff that I went through and use it for good. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I want to go back, because we talked at breakfast the other day about some things, and there was a moment you had where you were addicted, you were in trouble, and you saw something that resonated with you to such a level that you decided to go to that police station and get help. Talk to me about that.
So when I was finally done, about early 2009, I didn't have no money. I wasn't doing anything. I was, like I said, homeless. I was going through withdrawals in Watson Park, and I was, puking and everything in a pond. And during the time that I was out there, I met this girl, and we had a child together. We had a child that I was never able to see because I chose drugs over him. And he was born, I wasn't able to be there, and he was growing up. And when I was doing the withdrawals, I used the word puking. As I was doing that in the pond, I looked over, and there was a little boy staring at me. And I've never seen my son before my entire life, but God used that as my son looking at me and wondering, what are you doing? And it was at that moment that I realized that this isn't who I am. This isn't who God created me to be. And it was like a gut-wrenching feeling, different from what the drugs was making me feel. So it was an eye-opening experience that I'll never forget. I know it wasn't my son, but God used that image as your son is looking down on you. And it was almost in the aspect of God looking down on me as well, saying, you know, this isn't who I created you to be. So it was that prompted me, I got to go get help. You know, and then I called my mom and asked my mom for help, and my mom did the best thing she ever did for me. She told me, no, you need to go get help, because if I'd have moved back in my mom, I would have stole, I would have treated them like, you know, like dirt in a sense. So it was that I walked in the police station and was like, you know what, I need help. So
let's go back to that. Sometimes, isn't it true, it's a God thing to say no to people sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is tough love, and she preached it my entire life of, I'm going to tell you no, I'm going to tell you no. That was when I really, truly felt tough love, and I quickly felt anger and bitterness, as I have not been able to relieve of that yet before I went in the program. So angry at my mom, bitter at my mom, and then now I can call her. I call her all the time and just tell her thank you for saying no to me, because her saying no to me almost saved my life, literally saved my life. So yeah.
That is an amazing, amazing story. I like the thought that you went through a program, because in addition to just, now you were free from your quote unquote chemical addiction and so forth, but you still had all this inner turmoil you were dealing with. The idea of confronting yourself. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So it's crazy. The first time I went into the New Beginnings program, they didn't have this at the time. So I was just dealing with more of what I was going through, my chemical addiction, and then my anger towards my dad and stuff. But when I went back, they called this book called Self-Confrontation, and that's when I was able to weekly go through anger, bitterness, forgiveness, prayer, everything that I was dealing with in myself, because again, I tried to go out there and do it by myself, and I fail every single time. So there's so much that I had to work on myself, because my main goal after that was getting out there and seeing my son, taking care of my son, that's all I was focused on, but I wasn't taking care of myself. And I know that I would have never went back to drugs, but I do know that I was not able to take care of somebody else because I was not able to take care of myself. So, and that's where I was really able to finally look in the mirror and say, you know, I need to work on myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the Lord has done some great things. Talk to us about your son and the relationship God's restoring there.
Yeah. So in 2020, I was able to finally reconnect with my son. He was actually able to come out and spend spring break with us. And it's just amazing how God is using my kids now that me and Danica have to help become a better dad to not only them, but to my son. And then be able to handle that time when he comes up and he asks me, you know, where were you? It's going to be very difficult, but I'm able to share with them where I was and where God got me out of it and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You were homeless, you were addicted, you were under a bridge, and now you have a beautiful new family, a brand new baby. What does that do for your faith in terms of being able to give hope to other people when you know that you were devastated and now you've been restored?
Yeah. So it almost gives me chills when I talk about it, because it's just amazing how God works. When I'm talking with those guys that I'm case managing at work, their demeanor is very just like, I'm just ready to get out of here. You know, this guy's not gonna be able to help me. When I start telling them what God has done for me, coming from homeless to where I am now, their whole demeanor changes. Their whole demeanor changes as, okay, I'm talking with somebody that's done it before. So in a sense, I can't say that it can't be done, because it can be done, but it doesn't it gives other people hope, and that's why I'm here to share my story. I'm here to share my story to give other people hope that no matter where you are in life, no matter where you are, God can reach you. No matter if you're at a park throwing up, God can reach you there, and I thought that that's where I was farthest away from God, and it wasn't until He showed that little kid looking at me that's where I was at it the closest with Him. He was literally sitting there right next to me, just waiting for me to reach up and grab His hand. And walking into that police station was me reaching out and grabbing Jesus' hand. So,
wow, that is something else.
Give me chills.
It's the raw and the real when we can say God reached you in the middle of puking to tell you that you could have something better, that something better was possible for you. That is a powerful thought.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, that's what, like I said, that's where God's not here with me. I was 100 pounds. I think I got down to like 103 pounds, 200 now, so that's awesome. So gaining some weight, but 100 pounds, and I'm like, I can't even look at myself. Why would God want to look at me? Why would God, it was almost that you hear about God turning His head from His son, but it was almost like that. I feel like that's what Jesus did to me. But Jesus showed me that no, He never left me. He never forsaked me. He was there waiting for me. So, yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother, for sharing your story.
Absolutely.